Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, March 30th, and trust me, a lot has happened over the weekend. Today, we're diving into a story that's getting messier by the hour. The legal war between Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. And here's the twist. Both sides are claiming victory. But when you actually look at what the judge said, the truth is a lot more complicated. Let's break it down. Over the weekend, the judge started clearing the courtroom chaos, basically separating what matters from what doesn't. Now here's the headline that's going viral. Baldoni's claims were legally frivolous and factually baseless. Sounds like a total loss, right? Not exactly, because when you dig deeper, you realize something important. Backhand index pointing right, not all claims were dismissed. Backhand index pointing right, not all arguments were considered weak. Backhand index pointing right, and definitely, this case is far from over. What actually happened is simple. The judge called out certain claims from Baldoni's legal team, especially where they added people who had nothing to do with the case. Think of it like this: a lawsuit with strong arguments, mixed with unnecessary filler. And the judge basically said, remove the filler, but the case itself? It can continue. Now here's where things get really interesting. One of the biggest claims, defamation, was not thrown out. Let that sink in. The judge literally allowed Baldoni's defamation argument to move forward, which means this legal battle is just getting started. On the other side, Blake Lively's team pushed hard for penalties. They wanted Baldoni's lawyers punished, even asking for legal fees. But what did the judge do? No fines, no major punishment, just a warning. A serious knock it off and nothing more. Now, let's talk about something huge: content creators. Because this case didn't just target celebrities. It targeted people online. Bloggers, YouTubers, even anonymous accounts. Yes, even Perez Hilton got pulled into this situation. But here's the shocking part. The court pushed back hard. Most subpoenas? Rejected. Most creators? Protected. And the message was clear. Backhand index pointing right, you can talk about public cases. Backhand index pointing right, you can share opinions. Backhand index pointing right, and you don't have to be dragged into court for it. That's a massive win for online creators. Meanwhile, Blake Lively's strategy to gather outside evidence basically collapsed. The court blocked access to a lot of third-party data, which limits how much she can prove using social media activity. And that's a serious setback. Now flip the perspective again. Because Baldoni isn't done either. His defamation case against a former publicist? Still alive. And if those private messages come out, they could completely change the narrative. We're talking about potential leaks, media manipulation, and possibly a much bigger story behind the scenes. So where does this leave us? Simple. This is not a win or loss. This is the calm before the storm. Because what's coming next could expose everything. And just when you think things couldn't get more intense, the conversation shifts beyond Hollywood. Because while this legal drama unfolds, something much bigger is happening globally. Reports are now confirming that troops are being deployed to the Middle East. And this could mark a dangerous escalation. Families separated, uncertain missions, and questions no one seems ready to answer. Why are we here? What are we fighting for? And who really benefits? At the same time, millions of people have taken to the streets in protest. One of the largest demonstrations in modern history, spanning thousands of cities. A clear message from the public. Enough is enough. So whether it's Hollywood courtrooms or global conflict, one thing is clear. We are living in a moment where truth, perception, and power are constantly colliding. And this story? It's far from over. Not even close. Stay with me because the next updates might change everything. And as we step back and look at everything that has unfolded, one thing becomes crystal clear. This story is not about a simple win or loss. It's about perception versus reality. On the surface, headlines are screaming that Blake Lively has scored a victory, that Justin Baldoni's claims were frivolous, baseless. But when you go deeper, when you actually read between the lines, you realize something very different is happening. Because the truth is, this case is still alive. Very much alive. The judge didn't shut it down. The core arguments weren't destroyed. And most importantly, the door to something much bigger has been left wide open. And that's where things get interesting. Because now, it's no longer just about accusations. It's about evidence. It's about what hasn't been seen yet. Private messages, behind-the-scenes conversations, possible leaks that could completely shift the narrative. And if even a fraction of that comes to light, everything we think we know right now could change overnight. But this story goes beyond just two Hollywood names. Because what we witnessed here is something bigger. A battle over control. Control of the narrative. Control of public opinion. And control of the truth itself. We saw attempts to pull in content creators, to dig through online voices, to connect dots that may not even exist. And yet, the court pushed back. Hard. Protecting the idea that people can speak, analyze, and question, without fear of being dragged into a courtroom. That alone is a powerful moment. Because in today's world, where information spreads faster than ever, who controls the story often controls everything. At the same time, we're watching something else unfold. A world where headlines are shaping emotions, where narratives are built before facts are confirmed, and where millions of people are reacting without ever seeing the full picture. Some believe one side instantly. Others refuse to even question their perspective. And somewhere in the middle, the truth gets lost. But here's the reality no one can ignore. This is only the beginning. The filings ahead, the testimonies, the evidence still hidden. That's where the real story lives. Not in viral tweets, not in trending headlines, but in what comes next. And while all of this unfolds in the spotlight of Hollywood, there's a much bigger reminder happening around us. A reminder that the world itself is shifting. From legal battles, to global tensions, to voices rising in protest across cities. People are asking questions, demanding answers, refusing to just accept what they're told. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about celebrities. It's about truth. It's about accountability. And it's about understanding that in a world full of noise, the loudest voice isn't always the right one. So as this story continues to unfold, stay aware, stay curious, and most importantly, don't just follow the narrative, question it. Because the next chapter of this story, it might not just surprise you, it might change everything. Fire.